You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
This is episode 272 of the IT in the D Show. Guests this week include Michelle Gilbert. She's the VP of PR at Comcast, talking about some expansions to our favorite program, Internet Essentials. We got Mike Walters and Big E here from the Detroitcast, talking about and celebrating the life of Mike Clark. And last but not least, we interviewed Jimmy Smith. He's the brand ambassador for Lenovo, giving him some business about the new chip problems they've been having, and then talking about the good stuff they got going on.
And your fantasy problems.
And my fantasy football problems.
Football, just to be clear.
Exactly.
Incidents happen. Thankfully, OpsGenie empowers dev and ops teams to plan for service disruptions and stay in control during incidents. It also gives teams the power to respond quickly and efficiently to unplanned issues, and helps to notify all the right people through a smart combination of scheduling and escalation paths. With OpsGenie, your next incident doesn't stand a chance. Visit OpsGenie.com to sign up to get a free company account and add up to 5 team members. That's OpsGenie.com. Never miss a critical alert again with OpsGenie.
Dave, you may fire and you'll never break him.
That's amazing. He said before the show, you can do anything in front of me when I'm doing a read. I'll get through it. I was trying. I was trying to throw you off. You did nice work, man.
Dave, you may fire and ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now, and remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Where do you guys think you are?
The Library of Congress?
Detroit?
Beyond the sun?
Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit.
No, not Detroit. No, please. Anything but that. No.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come. Shut up.
Hi, this is Jeremy London from Mallrats, and I'm just wondering, how did I go from Hot Floridian Sex with Brandy spinning to the IT and D Show?
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bumhole?
Exactly. Come on, try. What the hell with this? I'm calling a break. We'll come back to this.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the beak off.
Hi, this is David Kay, the voice of Professor Xavier from X-Men Evolution. Storm, come here, Storm. Sit on my lap, Storm.
You're listening to IT and the D.
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, everybody, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. You're listening to IT and the D. And if you want to get your money's worth, stay right here. And remember, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
What is a nerd?
Hi, this is Ogre. You listen to a bunch of nerds on the IT and the D? Nerd.
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
Hey, what up? This is Jay Muse, and you're listening to the IT and D Show. Snooch to the nooch. Listen, Muse, Snoogans.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump. IT and the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, Ted Stryker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science.
So,
Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
the question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
What's going on? Thanks for hanging out with us once again. This is the one and only IT in the D Show, episode 272, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. It's Bob the Sales Guy hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitters, is in studio. Find us online, itinthed.com. Do us a favor. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, so almost every day we hear something on the news about a cyber attack. Sometimes it's just a bunch of pranksters. More often it's a foreign country with vast cyber resources trying to hack our power grid, our banking systems, or our military's information networks. The National Security Agency plays a big part in protecting our country from cyber attacks, and you can help. The NSA is hiring technical professionals to serve on the front lines of information security. If you work in computer science, networking, programming, or electrical engineering, you can help keep our country safe. Design new hardware systems and networks, write faster, smarter programs, protect America's critical infrastructure, or help uncover what our adversaries are planning to do next. Learn more about careers at the National Security Agency today. Visit intelligencecareers.gov/NSA. That's intelligencecareers.gov/NSA.
And don't steal any iPads at the airport.
Don't.
That's the
TSA.
Oh.
It's close.
Keep
close.
I don't know the difference.
NT, tentacles,
Okay.
big difference.
No, it's fine.
Huge.
Then don't. then they can't steal them if they're not in there. I'm just kidding. Do us a favor. Mark your calendars tomorrow. Go. Unless you're listening live. You're probably gonna get this on Wednesday. But go vote.
Bob, have you voted yet?
No, I have not.
Bob, do you know where your polling location is?
Yes.
Bob, vote for John James?
No.
Bob, vote.
Maybe.
Do you need a ride?
Yeah, I'm gonna go vote tomorrow.
You need a ride to the polling
I don't
station?
need a ride tomorrow.
I was just talking about all the text messages that I've got lately.
Oh.
Yeah.
I heard somebody in the office today. Someone said, "Can I count on your vote?" And they said no. And then the person actually texted back going, "I'd like to call you and explain to you why." He goes, "I'm just kidding." He goes, "I'm voting for whoever texted me the least." That's my voting criteria this year, which is fair compared to all the,
my God.
at least thank God the commercials are all going to be all gone. Mark your calendars, November 8th, podcaster meetup at the little dive bar by our studio on 11 Mile called Selena's.
You kind of missed the details when Nuri interrupted you of tomorrow night.
What?
Go vote and then
go vote.
There's something afterward?
Go to our Ann Arbor.
Oh, the Ann Arbor meetup at Haymaker where there's
no hay.
There's no hay and there's no makers.
There's no makers.
But Randy and Spence, and maybe I'll show up. They'll be there from 5 to ? Doing that thing that they do in Ann Arbor.
And it will be our last Ann Arbor event of the year because we do the big December party over this side.
Yep, which we haven't figured out. Well, actually, the 15th is going to be the last normal social IT in the day of the year. Then December, we still have yet to announce our Christmas party. I believe we are going to team up with Hunger in the D, help out the Capuchin Soup Kitchen and Gleaners Food Bank. The only two charities in Detroit that I give to a lot of money every year out of my personal account, and hopefully we can help them once again. And we don't know where it's at yet, but stay tuned.
Speaking of where it may or may not be, the first 80s night was Saturday night down at the Detroit Shipping Company place. Apparently that was a huge success, and we're doing another one on December 1st. Yay. Huzzah.
You know what I'm tired of? And here's
political ads.
Not that too.
God. I hadn't seen any. I don't watch broadcast TV. But I went to dinner tonight and was sitting toward a TV, and it was the same political ads every single break during Wheel of Fortune.
I love the ones that follow the other one, like, "Hey, I'm amazing. Look at me how great I am." And then the one's like, "She's a turd.
That person causes cancer."
It's like, "Oh my God, it's awesome." But no, daylight savings time can suck it. I think we're all past the point. We all understood why it was done was for longer farming hours and during harvest season. And it's such toilet, and I have a solution. And I Googled it, and I guess Forbes wrote about it, and everyone wrote about it. But listen, it gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Is it just get rid of it?
No.
Wait, there's a better option?
Yeah, I think there's the Bob option's way better.
The Bob option?
I'm not going to call it mine because other people have written about it. But instead of it gets dark at 9 o'clock in the summer and it gets dark at 5 o'clock in the winter. Well, why don't they just make it effing backwards, and then so it's dark at 7 o'clock all the time?
No, I love it. I think it's a great idea. Daylight savings time is a big screw-up. I learned today that there are 17% more car accidents that cause fatalities on Mondays after daylight savings time, and a 24% increase in heart attacks.
What?
Crazy stuff, yeah.
My Sunday was jacked up. I don't know about you, but I didn't set my watch back. Right, my cell phone, everything went back, and I'm ready to watch football at 1 o'clock. And I look at my thing, and I go, "It's noon." I'm like, "God bless it!" I had to watch Netflix for an hour until the game came on.
Don't all of your statistics Neri, apply in March when we spring ahead?
I don't know. Haven't checked.
I think they're actually the opposite when we fall back.
But why can't it be like? No, seriously, why can't it be backwards? Doesn't that make more sense as a human being?
It used to be
Nowadays,
a farmer thing, right?
Yeah, it was totally a farmer thing.
Farmers don't want it. The cows don't care what time the clock says.
Farmers actually don't want it. When it went into effect, the farmers were actually against it, I read.
You know who's really angry about it? Dogs. Like if you're used to like feeding your dogs at a certain time, like dogs and kids. Dogs and kids are the worst with it because kids have no concept of being lazy. I mean, my kids had no concept of don't wake up an hour early.
Well, this one's the easy one because they get an extra hour of sleep kind of in their head if they're on a clock. It's the one where it goes back and you got to get up an hour early to get kids out of bed then. Nightmare. Today I was like, they were all up at like 5:30 watching cartoons. I'm like, this is great.
But dogs are on a schedule of when they eat. So when it's 3 o'clock and they think they should eat because they think it's 4 o'clock.
It's horrible.
Right.
So we love talking about WeWork. Some of our favorite people. And one of the perks in, I guess, their New York City office is free beer.
Which is pretty great, right? I mean, you're sitting there having a casual meeting or whatever.
Free beer.
But it's kind of like free beer at Podcast Detroit. You know, you're going to have a couple beers. You're not going to drink. You're not going to like have a bender here.
You may have like one asshole or two that do,
but apparently there are, because now they're putting a cap on it where you can. There's like membership cards, and you have to scan your membership card now to get a beer.
Your building ID, like that unlocks the door, also unlocks the tap,
unlocks the beer, and it will cut you off after 4.
And they'll only work between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. Like,
Yeah.
what if I wanted a beer at 11:30 for an early lunch?
Yeah,
That's so
or if I'm
stupid.
still there at 11 o'clock at night.
Right. No, totally.
You know, because when I think co-working, I think get drunk.
Hey,
I don't know,
Steve, did you use your daily beer quota? You going to pour me one?
Yeah, can I borrow your card?
Oh my God, that's totally like. Do you ever go to events where they have like 4 drink tickets?
Drink tickets, yes.
Oh my God, I sell on getting people's extra tickets harder than I do like at the event to network. I'm like, got any extra drink tickets?
I wonder if this is because there was an incident or because WeWork is just trying to tighten their belt. You know that back in April of 2018, we talked about how they owe $18 billion
With a B,
in rent.
yeah.
And they're burning cash. Their expenses are up faster than their memberships.
I feel like the cost of kegs is not the main issue there.
Aren't they the company that also stopped letting customers buy meat?
No,
Or
they're employees.
buy
Yes,
meat.
yes. You can't have.
Yeah.
And it's also the company that takes their competitors and creates subdomains. So the SEO, so Google catches it, and when you Google the other competitor company, it actually shows up as them. And then when you call them out on it, they change it back to what it was. But I don't know anything about it, the hard details, and I'm not bitter about it either because they didn't do it to us. I swear,
No, never.
they didn't.
And we certainly did not reply in kind. And we certainly did not get reached out to by their marketing department within about an hour.
And I'm sure their legal was on hold. Wait, what? But
Allegedly.
Allegedly. All yeah.
Hypothetically speaking.
Right. So last week we talked about this story, or I think the last couple of weeks, when like Facebook now, you can paid buy ads. You can buy
you have
ads.
to.
Right. You can paid buy, and you can pretty much pick like ISIS, and people were picking anything. Mike Pence.
Yeah, last week we talked about how, you know, they basically this ad is sponsored by Mike Pence, this ad is sponsored by ISIS, and those were automatically approved and gone.
So Vice News, I love, you know, we all talked earlier before the show. Vice is great. And basically what they did is they applied to buy fake ads on behalf of 100 sitting U.S. senators, pretty much
all of them,
yeah. Right? Paid for by, you know, everyone. And they were all, you know, basically Facebook went and just blanket approved every single one of them. It didn't matter what they were putting as their ad. Didn't matter what political affiliation they were presenting. Just Facebook just said, yeah, go ahead.
It's interesting that every other news outlet has now done the exact same thing, and I think have written a very similar story because they were able to get their ads approved as well.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. Like, I don't know.
Well, then it said an attempt to place an ad posing as Hillary Clinton was denied.
Conveniently.
Yeah, exactly.
How skeptical.
Facebook is, you know what? I'm going to say right now, until someone comes out, someone's going to build a better mousetrap, and Facebook's going to die because they're already dying in Europe. And I didn't even realize this was a thing.
Yeah, dude, like, the numbers in this story about Facebook in Europe totally threw me for a loop. Like, I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, if you look, so now Europe is hemorrhaging about 2 million users per month. And yeah, the stat that got me was Europe has more users than the U.S., which I thought was mind-blowing.
Yeah, 375 million Facebook users in Europe compared to 242 million here in the U.S., which even that number struck me as weird because I'm like, aren't there only like 300 million people in the U.S.?
330, 340.
So, like, are there
fake accounts, dude? How many people have, like you? Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
They blame it because not just Cambridge Analytica, which I heard every one of my friends bitch about Cambridge Analytica, yet none of them did anything about it.
They all
to
still
their
have their
account.
Facebook accounts, yeah.
But then there's this thing with apparently some teeth in it called GDPR in Europe.
Yep.
That if you work at a big company, you've probably been on a GDPR project.
Yeah.
And maybe that's it, but no one's really sure. Maybe Facebook is just boring and people don't like it anymore.
Good thing about GDPR is that fines are based on income or profits.
Yeah.
So it's like up to 4% of total global profits that could be fined.
No, I really think, honestly, Facebook needs to go back to Facebook is your living room. Dave says it all the time. And it can, like, honestly, if you came over every day, Nuri, and I sat there and Trump sucks. And that's all we talked about was Trump sucks. Look at this article, Nuri, Trump sucks.
That's what I do on Reddit all day. Come on.
Yeah, right.
But Bob, where would we find cool new T-shirts?
That's where I get them on Facebook. I buy all of them.
Who would listen to my private conversations with my girlfriends? Come on.
Oh, your girlfriend and Facebook, man. That's a thing that needs to either turn the volume up on that, or she's she's hysterical on Facebook. But it's just like people, like, I don't know if they like lost their filters or like, I just enough. It's gotten to be it's painful to go through it on a daily basis now.
It is.
It really is.
It is. There's another interesting Facebook story, and this is an interesting segue, where on the dark web there was a Russian group of hackers selling the private Facebook messages of 81,000 people.
Well, and profile info as well. So I mean, it started off with like a whole bunch of profile info and photos and all that kind of stuff, and they figured out that essentially that stuff was from people who just didn't have their privacy settings correct, and like too much shit was public.
Sure.
But yeah, the 81,000 sets of Facebook messages were far more concerning because they were real.
Yeah, and it's just 10 cents a piece, too.
They can have mine. All it is GIF files going back to friends and going lol afterwards. It's about as much as you're going to get out of my crap.
Now, the thing that really got me was that this was blamed not due to a Facebook security problem,
right,
but a malicious browser extension
in Chrome.
Right. So basically, everyone's got Chrome extensions, right?
Well, but did you notice an update for Chrome just came out today?
I did not notice that.
Yeah.
What really bothers me is that none of these articles told me which one it was.
Yeah, which extension it was.
Hopefully it's already been removed.
One would hope so.
They'll teach you how to shoot heroin, but they won't tell you the browser extension for crying out loud. So, we busted people with heroin. Now watch exactly how they shot it up.
But yeah, I thought it was like in the story they said they actually reached out to the people. Like they could identify the people that these messages were to and from, reached out to them and said, "Hey, are these your messages?" Yeah.
I have a lot of very private conversations in Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
It's my messaging system of choice.
Well, no, so what I'm curious about is did they get through, because you can have Facebook messaging, you can now go secret. Where it encrypts the conversation.
It's supposed to destroy those, and I have all mine set for 5-minute expiration.
Yeah,
time.
and so I'm curious. Well, because you think if it's in Chrome,
is that all it takes you?
This guy's got a lot of conversations over here that he does not want people to see you. Sorry.
Damn it! It's been 12 minutes, guys. 12 minutes.
But no, so I'm curious, because if it's a browser extension and it's up and running while you're typing those secret conversations, one would assume those are vulnerable too.
Well, actually, all my secret conversations usually come from my cell phone, usually at about 2:30 a.m. So probably not.
Where you at?
Probably not.
So who's on my shit list this week? And, because of this, Jeff Bezos, I'm only going to order 4 things this week from you and not 6. You dirty sumbitch. But, if you're a sales guy in this town for any part of your career, RFPs are the bane of your existence. In essence, you have to basically write a 60-page document, answer every question in detail.
Does the system do this?
Right.
Does the system comply?
Illustrate how
the
system does
chance
this.
of you winning are probably less than 2%. You never win an RFP unless you wrote it. That's the kind of the old sales adage. Well, here's Amazon, where you got every city in the U.S. going, "Ooh, pick me! Ooh, pick me! Ooh, pick me!" It's like a bad TV show, The Bachelor. Ooh, pick me! People spent millions of dollars preparing videos and tours and.
Now I can't help but picture Jeff Bezos like walking out at a press conference with like a rose, and like representatives from all the cities sitting there. Detroit,
am I the only one in the room?
You did
that
not
doesn't
get a
know
rose.
what an RFP is
Request for proposal.
Request.
Okay.
Yeah, like a company.
I
like
really wanted to like listen to your story. But you lost me an RFP.
Yeah, what the hell's a bad acronym?
Embarrassing for you. I know. Did you know what an RFP was?
Of course I did.
Yeah, sure.
But like he just comes out and says, after all this work, all these cities did, everybody goes, "Ooh, it's gonna be us! Ooh, it's gonna be us! We're gonna get to half a million jobs.
Narrow down to 20.
It's gonna be amazing.
Narrow down to 10.
It's gonna be us. Ooh, pick me, Jeff." He goes, I'm just gonna go with my gut.
Yeah.
After all this shit, he put all these cities through, and all these like professionals and all these people doing all this work. I'm just gonna go with my gut.
There were two really interesting articles this week about someone had analyzed Jeff Bezos's private plane, his travel patterns based on his like N number registration with the FAA. They were trying to say, well, he went to this cities more than anywhere else. And then there was a Washington Post article today
that he owns
that came out saying that New York City, Dallas, and Crystal City, Virginia, which is right next to D.C., is where they are going to possibly have it. And not just HQ2, but also HQ3.
Yeah, they're splitting it into two. Instead of one 50,000 employee headquarters, it'll be two $25,000 headquarters.
This feels like an Elon Musk plan. Is this an Elon Musk plan?
A little bit. And tell me, dude, I loved Crystal City when I was living down there. It was
just
amazing.
like the Pentagon, right? It's like that's the only thing
no, Pentagon's in the city. No, Crystal City is like where a lot of the contract firms are and that kind of stuff. A lot of great little bars,
hotels.
that kind of stuff. Big fancy hotels.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Good spot.
Well, Wall Street Journal had an interesting article, and we always talked about this thing going on in China with the social scores, and we talk about Black Mirror.
Oh yeah,
And this article basically came out in the title, wasn't it? It wasn't clickbaity because I thought it was, but it said on hold for 45 minutes. It might not be. It's because they're busy. It might be because you suck as a customer.
This is not new. From someone who is in the call center industry, this is a very common practice.
So I guess basically elaborate more on. But basically, what it is if you're a good customer, basically it's a credit score for how you interact with them as a customer.
It's more customer lifetime value, or CLV. So basically, say I'll use. Oh God, I don't want to use any company names. So say you are the worst kind of company and or customer and have a prepaid cell phone, for instance, and you're calling to get help. Why would I prioritize you higher than people who are paying $300
a month, $400 a month plans?
Yeah. Or like it's like I'm thinking like Jet's Pizza. Let's say every Friday I've been ordering Jet's Pizza for 15 years, right? They're going to take me as priority because my lifetime dollar value is higher than someone that's only ordered there twice in their life.
Or what if you were a banking customer and only have like $500 in your checking account every month, like most people do, and then you've got some guy with like $100,000 in their checking account? I'm absolutely going to prioritize them over you if I'm wanting to give them a good customer experience.
Yeah.
You want
the guy
retain
that
those
the
customers.
NSF guy pays all their fees though. That's not sufficient funds.
Thank you. I was going to ask.
Just check. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He might be familiar
know
with
what
that
that is over here. Yeah, exactly. But it just to me it's a cue. Like the priority thing. It's like when we went to Cedar Point on Hollow weekends, man. It's like it costs more to get Fast Pass than it does to like buy a ticket. And it's like kiss my ass, Cedar Point. Like I'm standing freaking line like the rest of the people.
Or what if you're American Airlines and you're traveling on a first class ticket to China, which is $8,000?
Yeah,
you would of course prioritize that over someone who's spending $200 to fly from Dallas to San Antonio.
Well, if you're zone one, it doesn't mean shit anymore when you fly because three-quarters of the flight's on board before you get there. Zone one, it's like everyone's out. Everyone's already on the plane.
So I'm curious to see how this thing from Pizza Hut's going to work because it's an interesting idea, but it's one step closer to a robot that can kill you. So they're going to put robo chefs in the back of self-driving pickup trucks and make and cook your pizza on the way to your house.
So it's steaming hot when it comes out of the oven. Oh my God!
Well, and gets to you faster. So instead of a 20-minute wait time, maybe it's only 10 minutes.
I'm seeing like
I don't want my shit cooked in the back of a pickup truck while he's driving.
coming from a guy who tailgates like 4 times an effing year.
No, but like guy slams on his brakes at a red light. All the pepperonis on one side. Like, give me a break. I don't want that crap.
Bob gets mushrooms.
My DoorDash guy already dropped my buddy's pizza last week, man.
Oh, really?
Crap. Oh, totally. You could tell it's all smushed on one side. Tasted fine. I didn't care. Shut up, Biggie. But no, it's just like.
No, I was laughing at the guy dropping it. Dude, people are shocked now that with Uber Eats and stuff, they're like, oh my God, people are eating their French fries. Like video on the front porch.
Right.
Are showing some dude eat their French fries. Like, are you really shocked that a guy working for Uber Eats might eat your McDonald's French fries?
I'm shocked that you had to get anything that's drive-through should not be Uber Eats. Like
question 1: where are you in your life?
Right,
that you're calling Uber Eats to get McDonald's.
No, but I've gotten PF Chang's. I've got
it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want to leave the house. Taking cues from Mike here. Right, I want some good food. Like the other day, like yesterday, we got DoorDash with buddies, and I was completely fine with that. But McDonald's, man, you deserve to get your fries eaten if you get
I'm just
McDonald's.
saying, but is it shocking? Is it shocking that the Uber Eats guy might eat your French fries?
If I was working for Uber Eats, I would eat your French fries.
Oh, all day.
All day.
Because it's the easiest thing. You could go
in the
there
special request field.
Right.
Please
do not eat
how many
my fries
I have so that you can compare what the restaurant says to what you actually
Great,
get.
now he's going to touch every fry in line and put them back in.
Lick his finger, touch all your fries.
So the Pizza Hut thing, is there a guy driving the truck?
No, there's a self-driving truck, self-driving vehicle.
So you don't have to tip him. That's kind of cool.
Right, so you don't have to
tip a robot, right?
No.
Yeah. So
if you want to live, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Well, the next one might have a little squirt of injection fluid on it or something, Sorry.
Where's the bell?
Yeah, exactly.
Bell.
But the one we talk about this all the time. This has been like one of our hottest topics of the show, probably since in the history, is the self-driving car. What do you do if do you kill grandma or do you kill baby? Right? And
both.
Well, no, we always talk about somebody's got to write the line of code that says self-driving car going down road, tree falls across road. You have a big sturdy Volvo with a family of 4 in it next to you, or you have a little tiny Mini Cooper with like a mom and a baby in it
with the extra aluminum siding package.
Right. Like, so which one do you hit?
So MIT actually did basically a study. This is insane. 233 countries and logged 40 million decisions and basically said, hey, there's 5 people going straight that you're going to hit, or do you veer to the left and hit the one person? Basically, 40 million times people were picking what they should do. The amazing part of this was it's got nothing to do with people. It's got everything to do with geography and where they live. Like they basically said, one said, your pedestrian in your car, pedestrian on the street is going to die, or the passenger in your car is going to die. And like in Japan, like some parts of the world, like Taiwan, China, South Korea, Japan, they were all like I believe it was the pedestrian dies. But in like France, Greece, Canada, UK, it was completely opposite.
I think it had to do with the age too. So because China and Japan,
that's a great one.
They really have a
90-year-old
crazy respect for their elderly. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then here in the U.S., we're like, well, they have such a chance. And France, they have such a chance to do something great. So I that's really interesting. So who's writing this line of code, Bob? Probably somebody in China.
Right.
So which means the elderly are going to be fine.
Yay for the elderly.
People actually pick the passenger. Like, the passenger.
That was a choice. That was a choice.
Wow. I guess it depends on who the passenger is.
Oh, never mind. The article was actually both. It was the passengers, or if it was to hit and kill an old person or a baby. That's really interesting. That's crazy. China's on the far end of that too.
Yeah. So like that one is like, like I said, France, Greece, like United States is kind of in the middle. Germany's complete flat. And then you get into like Singapore, Japan, South Korea, China, Taiwan. They're all the way on the right on this thing.
Dude, if the people like, I think it would depend on when you're asked the questions. Anybody that would have said passenger must have been like at the time like, oh shit, I really don't like my wife or girlfriend passenger. You know what I mean? Or like,
should be crossing the street to get some froyo. I mean, come on.
No, but who would pick the passenger? And like,
it was how countries compare sparing pedestrians.
Uber drivers would pick passenger.
Yeah, well, there you go. Sure.
No, that's the thing. How countries compare in sparing pedestrians over passengers. If it's closer to 1, respondents place a greater emphasis on sparing pedestrians. If the bar is closer to -1, greater emphasis on sparing passengers. So now you got Japan way over on the left, basically sparing pedestrians, and on the far right, China, like sparing passengers. Canada's flat. Yeah, totally mind the stuff.
Does it matter what the guy on the street, like if he's on a bicycle and he's wearing that outfit with the tights,
the
and
Wonder Bread
helmet?
shirt? Yeah,
yeah, like that guy. You want to wipe that guy?
Yeah,
out, right?
I don't know if they got that granular.
Write an AI
or like on a bird scooter ignoring traffic signals.
Yeah,
that guy.
Did they have a MAGA hat on? You know.
All right. So my favorite story this week. Got to touch on it because scientists actually did this. This was an amazing thing. Scientists who would not put their names to the paper, who could only be reached by blind emailers, remailers, spent 109 hours watching porn.
Excellent.
In order to program an AI to give the perfect blowjob.
Yes,
That's
please.
That's
Why would you have
science.
to watch that? Like, why would you have to, like, in porn? Why did they need to watch that much?
They just
do not question the scientific
okay,
method.
I'm sorry.
He watches. Hold on. Is there ever a bad one? Like I'd watch 3 seconds. I'm like, that's perfect. Love it. I'm married for crying out loud. Anyone is the perfect one.
Well, here's the thing. So many hours after you watch it, and then you do what you do when you watch porn, then you're not going to want to keep watching.
Well, so that was the funny
no one
thing.
watches after that part.
No, that
right?
was the funny thing is they like the scientists they were talking to were actually like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it actually got monotonous. Like it became exhausting. Watch it. Yeah.
The whole method was actually brilliant. He pulled together 6 people, and apparently they were not the scientists, but these were just friends that he had that volunteered to do this. And they used a slider. Basically, they called it Slider Man.
It was,
and they determined the motions frame by frame, collected the points, and then had the scientists feed them into machine learning models, which was brilliant. Apparently, they reached out to these scientists on LinkedIn, did not mention porn, mentioned nothing strange, but basically said, we're here to talk about video analysis and artificial intelligence stuff. And they all signed up, and apparently came out with a pretty darn good paper.
Well, yeah, because what was it? The first 2 or 3 firms they reached out to were like, yeah, we're not doing that.
And he spent $30,000 on creating that paper, and that was it, which is really interesting too. So
this artificial intelligence is going into a device called the Auto Blow 2.
What happened to the Auto Blow 1?
It wasn't as good.
It exploded. It's like Microsoft software.
Bit it off.
You never want release 1 of anything.
Right. Oh, I thought you were calling Microsoft software the Auto Blow.
It does. Well, hey, release 1 always sucks.
So for the first time in show history,
for
the first time in show history, we're going to go take a break without giving a bad segue. We're going to be back with Michelle Gilbert from Comcast. This is the IT in the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Lives of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back, segment 2, episode 272 of the IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy, I do the Twitters. Find us online, ITinthed.com. You know why? Because we are IT in the D.
You're still not, even after all this time, and we still love you.
Hey, I know later on today we are going to have an interview with Jimmy Smith, but this episode is brought to you by our friends at Lenovo for Business. Like anyone in IT knows, your job is not easy. From managing users and use cases to testing out new products, software, hardware, and more. There's no end to optimizing your office, but you didn't choose this field because it was easy. You choose IT because you made you smart, faster, and great, because you solve problems, you troubleshoot, and you never take no for an answer. You do what you do to make a difference, and while you're making a difference, Lenovo wants to help you make a difference by providing innovative technology, services, and support. Take Lenovo's new ThinkPad P1, the ultimate mobile workstation. If you haven't seen it, it's beautiful.
It's pretty sweet.
What's it called again?
The ThinkPad P1. or take their services like their data as a service or software as a service programs with flexible financing options, a suite of data center solutions, premier support, and customized business shoppings. There's no end to what you can accomplish, because when it comes to IT, Lenovo is dedicated to offering solutions that make a difference for you and your company. Do us a favor to learn more about how they can make a difference for you. Visit www.lenovo.com/SMB. That's www.lenovo.com/SMB. Thank you for the support.
Hey, Bob, are you going to vote tomorrow?
I am going to vote
Bob,
tomorrow.
are you going to vote tomorrow? Do you know where your polling place is?
Yes.
Do you need a ride?
No.
Okay, cool.
All right. I know she doesn't need a ride. We are joined by Michelle Gilbert, one of our favorites, the VP of PR for Comcast. How are you today?
Awesome. And I am voting tomorrow, but Nuri's not picking me up to vote.
No, I'm not. I mean, that's sad. And the backstory behind that is tomorrow I'm driving around the underserved in Detroit with the Detroit Bus Company. They're doing a massive get out the vote for people who can't get to the polls tomorrow, and I'm so excited to be a part of that.
That is so awesome.
Andy, you're awesome. That's amazing.
That is super cool. Yeah. But so talk to me. What's we've had you on a few times now, and
just a couple.
We haven't beat you up in a while, and I don't think there's much to beat you up on now. I mean, you guys kind of, I've been a customer. I refuse to be a customer forever, and you talked me into it, and I've been happy. I've totally been happy.
I was a big detractor, and now I'm a net promoter, right? So
yeah.
You were really good at this job, Michelle. Language. Really good.
Because I don't have to call in for support because I can do it on the app, which makes life all that much better.
Do you use the app?
I totally do.
You do?
Oh,
yeah,
constantly.
I have to reboot all the time. Like that's it's not a complaint because it's technology.
Right.
But like I have to,
Thank you for understanding that.
Yeah.
I saw an Xfinity Mobile billboard today driving back from Waterlivet, Michigan, and it said "honk if your something has something," and it was talking about the Xfinity Mobile. And I'm like, I wonder how many people actually honk at the billboard.
And is there an audio interface on it to detect honk?
If honk, then X equals X plus 1.
I don't know. But actually, I'm surprised how many of our internet customers haven't switched to Xfinity Mobile because it is so much cheaper. You haven't done it yet, have you?
I haven't done it yet.
I don't know why.
I've got a family member on my plan that I can't get over, so that's the one thing. But otherwise, I'd be there too.
A family member?
A family member who lives in an area that's just Verizon.
All right, we'll talk after.
We'll talk after.
I don't know if it matters, but...
And it has no data service at her home. That's the other problem, too. So, yeah.
Right,
but anyway, we'll talk
No,
after.
but I know that you reach out all the time when stuff gets changed, and you'll go, hey, we increased the I don't care, Michelle. Hey, we expanded this. We don't care. Hey, Internet Essentials for Veterans. Get in here next week. But no, if you haven't listened to Michelle on before, we love talking about Internet Essentials. It was initially started off as a program to give internet access to kids on free lunch programs. Right. Then it expanded to senior citizens. Then it expanded to kind of anyone in poverty. And now it's expanding to veterans. So talk to me more about what the program is and who it's going to be available to now.
Sure. So it's now available to 30,000 low-income veterans in Michigan and over 1 million across the nation.
Now, what's defined as, like, everyone defines low income as something different. Is it poverty level from the government set, or what's the line?
It's based on what the government sets. So I don't know what the exact amount is. I could probably look it up for you. Really
for single person, it's like $12,000 a year, which I can't believe they even set it that low. That seems insane. But that's the poverty line for one single person.
I'm gonna go look it up as we're talking. Anyway, let me tell you more about the program, and then I'll get back to how they define it. Every year we look to expand the program and we look to make it better and to help more people. And I don't know if you even knew this about Comcast, but we're really, really committed to supporting our military in every way we can. And in fact, we recently surpassed a goal of hiring 10,000 veterans, military family members, and we have set a new goal that we want to reach 21,000 by the end of 2021. And so, it's something that we're very, very committed to. We go above and beyond for our employees who are in the reserves or called in onto active duty in terms of what we'll do for them to make sure that they've got everything that they need and they don't have to stress when they're going overseas to serve our country. So, this was just such a perfect fit for us to expand Internet Essentials to low-income veterans. I mean, these people have served our country. They've protected us. We walk freely across the United States because of the work they do.
Sure.
And it's hard to believe that there are men and women out there who have served our country who don't have access to the internet because they can't afford it.
Right. So what are they paying the same price as before, or what's the program?
$10 a month.
Okay.
So $9.95 a month. They have the ability to purchase a laptop for $150, and then they get all the free training that they want. Which, by the way, our Internet Essentials digital literacy training is actually open to anyone. You do not have to be.
Oh, cool.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
I don't think we knew that.
We didn't.
There's a little secret for you.
Yeah, that would be something like Focus Open Goodwill would be interested in. I'm assuming 'cause
Yeah.
they do deal with that a lot.
Yep. And it's
And that's not, you're not giving them like 768K, right? You're giving them like a decent bandwidth.
I think it's 15 megabits per
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
It's not a gig like Nuri has, but it is called Internet Essentials. But we have increased the speed several times
Sure.
in the program, and we'll continue to do so in order to, make sure that they can use it for what they need it for. And I will tell you that in addition to increasing speeds, a few years ago, we decided we were going to give free routers to every Internet Essentials recipient so that they could connect all the devices in the home and not just have to be hardwired in through their laptop.
And you give them a computer as well, right? For $150.
$150.
Which is super low cost.
It is. Yes.
I think of like the cheapest laptop you can buy at Best Buy is probably $300 or $400.
Yep.
Right? So
Well, no, you can get Chromebooks for about that. But
true.
but Chromebooks you can't even download software on them.
right.
It it just gives you access to email and basic internet.
I mean, I'd love to see the statistics on this. Just how many folks do you think you've connected since you've launched the Internet Essentials program?
So in Michigan, that's so funny because I just looked down and that's what I read. In Michigan, we've connected over 300,000 low-income Americans across the nation. 6 million.
Wow.
6 million.
Yeah.
And Michigan's population is 9.962
10 million, yeah.
10 million. That's still huge.
It's pretty big. It's pretty impressive.
Well, you wonder how many people don't. That's the thing. If you don't know about it, you don't know. Especially if you.
It's that whole adoption versus awareness thing we've talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Exactly.
It's becoming one of those things that like not having internet is an amazing. Like, how can you live without internet nowadays in the world we live in that's connected?
You've heard stories about this when people had to like ride their bike to the library so they could fill out job applications, and then they'd like take a bus back. You know what I mean? Like these crazy stories about just needing access and going through these like insurmountable things to just have a computer in front of you.
Well, and what we've learned through a lot of the research that we've done is that the cost is not necessarily the primary thing that's holding people back from getting internet access. They don't trust. They're not sure how they would use it. So there's a lot of different things that play into it. And that's why when we developed the program, it wasn't just about, sure, let's give them internet for a cheap price. It's about, let's give them the training. Let's make sure they have access to a laptop. Because if they don't have a computer, what good is the access, right?
Well, it was kind of like, I don't mean to deter from it, but if you watched South Park this past Wednesday, all the kids were going to trick or treat on birds. And it was absolutely hysterical. It was one of their funniest episodes they've ever done.
Oh, that was amazing.
But Kenny couldn't go out trick-or-treating because he didn't have a phone, and he didn't, he just had to walk, and he wasn't going to get any candy. But it's like then they all made fun of him. So it's kind of like I can imagine if you don't have access, like if you're like, on the outside looking in, like what social constructs you have to basically.
Think of how much of our conversations are A, online, and B, consist of GIFs and YouTube clips.
Right. Taking over jukeboxes at bars. Right. It's a huge part of it. That's the thing. Like, I guess that's another good question is, A, how do we help get the word out? Right. Like that's one of the things where, community centers, like, I know our friend Annie from Detroit Bus Company does a lot with like getting kids scooters now that the bird thing, they can't because they don't have phones and,
credit cards
and all that. Yeah. I mean, how do we help get the word out that this is a thing?
Well, you've been so generous in letting me come on and talk about the program every time we've had, some kind of improvement or enhancement to it. And I know that you went to your own school district and got them materials.
We did.
And what I would say is that all the materials that we provide are 100% free. So we can provide any organization, any school district with as much materials. It doesn't cost them anything to make it available to their students. And we actually partner with a lot of nonprofit organizations, the Boys and Girls Club, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, YMCAs, various organizations that work with families, that work with seniors, that work with people who need some extra help, because these are the organizations that know what they need and have their ear. I will tell you that I was at the Joseph Walker Williams Community Center in Detroit, and I think it was last year, we handed out laptops to about 100 senior citizens.
Wow.
And so now the community center is teaching these classes. So they had this one guy, and he said, I'm going to give my computer away. I have no reason to keep this computer. Then the person who taught the class said, please don't give it away. Before you give it away, just take my class. Just take one class, and if you still haven't learned anything and aren't sold that the internet can help you, you can give it to
God, I have
whoever you want.
so many jokes right now. What did he find? No, I'm kidding.
Well, so it's kind of funny because, first of all, he did learn how to use the internet, and he uses it for listening to his gospel music. He's keeping in touch with his grandchildren. He checks the news, and then he told us that now he's trying to learn how to surf porn. So I think
there it is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're waiting for that one.
Yes. So it was kind of funny, a little surprising, but
hey, at least he was honest.
Thanks for being
very
honest.
Very honest. But the point is that he didn't think that he would need it. He didn't even know why he would need it. But just taking this one class helped turn him around, and now he's relying on it, and it's enhancing his life. And he loves the fact that he's teaching himself something new every single day.
Right. No,
Bob, you here? This will be a fun look of horror. Bob, imagine your house without internet.
Oh God, there'd be nothing. No, there would literally be nothing. I looked at my E-row. I think there was like 18 or 20 connected devices.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be nothing going on in my house.
There riots.
Right.
There would be riots at your house.
Right, you can only play Hungry Hippo so many times on the kitchen table.
Right.
No, but it's like so many people are relying on it as it's their entire life. It's their entire, we were talking about just what we did in junior high. I'm like, oh my God, I thank God our kids are in the house on their stupid social apps. We were drinking like cheap whiskey under the bleachers,
Right.
and but no, it's and I'm just thinking out loud, I took it in front of the PTO, but I'm thinking about, maybe take it in front of the superintendent now and making it a thing where they actually promote it, because the school district, the first time I did it, didn't really take a run at it. They just kind of, whatever, put a poster up and that was about it.
Yeah.
But like actually making it a thing. They promote a lot stupider things. And I think this helps a lot of people.
Well, anything I can do to support that, I appreciate your help. And yeah, I mean, we assume that it's just families in, urban areas, but it's everywhere. It's in, Bloomfield Hills, in Birmingham, in West Bloomfield, in Troy. There are families that need assistance that, and if they can get a little bit of help with the cost of their internet service, it makes it easier for them to pay some of their other bills.
Well, and a lot of people are very proud and they don't want to say that they need help.
Right.
And people, you can't send an email blast out because they don't have email. Or I'm just assuming that the worst, right? Or like you can't put a banner up on a website. I'm thinking of all the ways that we would traditionally promote something.
Hey, listen to it. Find out about it on our podcast.
You can't listen to it.
Find out about it through our website.
Right.
Well, and a lot of times they are using the internet. They're using it through their wireless devices.
Sure.
So then you say, okay, well, if you have a router in your home, you're going to save on your cell phone bill too, because now you're using Wi-Fi, so you're not using as much data on your wireless plan.
Right. But it's did you guys get the .com or is it still .net? So it's Internet Essentials.
Oh, it's .com.
Oh, except the few times it was .net. So it's internetessentials.com.
Yes.
They will send you out posters and handouts and flyers. I highly suggest, especially if you're active in your school district, to what I found out was 50% of the kids in my district were free lunch.
Isn't that crazy?
Which was mind-boggling, which
Yeah.
meant like, oh, I'm not doing enough. That was the first thing I thought. But yeah, this was definitely something near and dear to my heart, so I wanted to make sure this got out.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
There's also other news that Comcast has about veterans, right? It's not just offering them internet essentials. Comcast has something else in the works, right?
For veterans?
For
that
veterans,
we're
yeah.
looking to hire more veterans?
That's the one.
We are. We're looking to hire more veterans by 2021. Are you a veteran?
I'm not.
Oh, we would still hire you.
Oh, thanks.
We're not looking to only hire veterans, but what we've found is it's a really good fit. The training that veterans have, they are hardworking, and, the types of technical jobs that we have a lot of, they're not just jobs. They're opportunities to really grow into a career. And we've got vice presidents in our company who started climbing poles. And so it's a great opportunity and something we're very proud of. And we have an employee resource group called VetNet, which actually is geared for veterans or people who have military family members. And it's just an opportunity for like-minded employees to be able to network with one another and rely on one another for support. And it works great. It works beautifully. In fact, one of our employees recently nominated his supervisor, they're both veterans, for a Patriot Award through the ESGR. The ESGR only gives out 8 Patriot Awards nationally every year, and one of our managers out of Lansing won this year.
Very
It's
cool.
a pretty high honor, yeah. And what I thought made it even more special is that he was nominated by his own colleague.
Right. Very cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So, Michelle, appreciate, again, always good, always amazing seeing you.
Thank you.
InternetEssentials.com, obviously Comcast.com if you want more information. But, hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with the gentleman from the Detroitcast. We're going to be talking about a little bit Mike Clark and talking about Opie and Anthony. That was a little shocking. So this is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Hey, welcome back. Segment 3, episode 272 of the IT in the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio 1 in Podcast Detroit. Beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the Sales Guy, Dave the Geek, Nara the F&G, Randy, I do the Twitters. Find us online, ITinthed.com. And good thing you were texting the wrong person. Good thing you got back in the building. You guys left for a minute.
Dude, I was like, the joke's not funny, man. You got the wrong number. I'm like, no, seriously, I'm out in the cold. Please let me back in.
You were
no, seriously, you have the wrong number. I'm like, Bob, it's not funny.
You were texting.
And I was actually texting the wrong person.
You were probably texting my child, and Chris Hansen will be calling in a minute. Yeah.
Why don't you have a seat?
But hey,
before we dive in with these guys, so finally, there's a cloud platform built for you and your business. DigitalOcean offers the simplest, most developer-friendly cloud hosting solution. It's optimized to meet your needs and make managing infrastructure easy. Plus, DigitalOcean makes it easy to deploy, manage, and scale applications with an intuitive control panel and an API designed for developers. So you can spend more time building great things and less time managing your infrastructure. No wonder DigitalOcean is the preferred cloud platform of hundreds of thousands of innovative companies, including Docker, GitLab, and Slack. Join them along with 150,000 other businesses that are already creating amazing things on DigitalOcean to get the infrastructure services you need to grow, from predictable pricing through flexible configurations to industry-leading customer support. You can get started with a free $100 credit towards your first project and experience everything the platform has to offer, like cloud firewalls, real-time monitoring and alerts, global data centers, object storage, and the best support anywhere. Just go to do.co/IT-in-the-D to claim your credit today. Join DigitalOcean and unlock the power of simplicity. That's do.co/IT-in-the-D. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So if you didn't recognize those voices earlier, we are joined by Mike Walters, Big E, from the Detroitcast.
Hey, guys.
How we doing?
Good, man. Thank you guys so much for having us in. I'm really proud of you guys. You guys are doing really well, and it's awesome.
Well,
awesome
it's
to
not.
see.
I mean, it's vice versa, right? We
Sure.
kind of follow each other on the socials,
Yeah.
in the medias and the Facebooks.
Isn't it fun doing a podcast, having no bosses, doing your own thing?
I
It's
wish
the
I
best.
still have a day job.
Making
so.
tons of money.
Yeah,
in an ivory tower.
Right.
Smoking the finest cigar.
Harems everywhere. Yeah.
I just mean the boss's part. Being able to say whatever you want. And do your own thing. It's great.
Except for Biggie dropped an F-bomb in the first segment. But,
I apologize for that. You should expect that by now. I mean,
after
he comes along, that's what you get.
We
You should see him talk to my mom. It's hilarious. C word, MF. Like every third word is MF, C. And I'm like, dude.
It's my mom.
But she loves
She
him.
listens to the show, though, so why would it
that's
be?
true.
She knows what I talk like, so why would
Yeah.
it be any different? I'm just being myself.
If we didn't have our mothers listening to our shows, we wouldn't have any listeners. So
That's true.
That's why.
But talking about like following into the success and everything, man, you got an Opie and Anthony. Like you told me before the show, and I'm like, dude, that like.
Well, Anthony got fired for a racist tweet he sent out about it happens. So he started a podcast. He's got a beautiful studio in Manhattan, in New York. Anthony Cumia.
Okay.
And he invited me on the show. He's got Dave Landau, a local comedian from Detroit, as his co-host now. And so I flew to Manhattan a couple months ago and went on their show. It's unbelievable because I've been such a huge fan of Anthony. I think he's the best in the country as far as like a host goes. His impressions, his timing, it's just his interview skills. Top notch all the way, and so to sit in
so the
studio with
opposite
them-
of us is what you're saying.
right? Opposite of all of us, yeah. So to
Totally
walk
slumming tonight.
to walk in that studio and see him sitting from me to you and do a full show with him, and then to have them say, "Hey, man, anytime you want to come back, you were great." And it was like, dude, this is unbelievable. So
You
it's
got
really,
you got
really cool.
2 hours, man.
Yeah.
We're cutting you off at like 25 minutes.
I know, right? I get no respect in Detroit. I got to go to New York to get respected around there.
Right.
Yeah.
Do a Rodney
By the way,
Dangerfield
I know.
impression.
Get no
What was
respect.
that?
But
that?
I just today got Anthony's putting a book out now. It's coming out soon, and they just sent it to us, and I started reading. I'm like, this is fantastic. So, you guys should check it out. Anthony Cumia. I can't remember the full title of it.
If it's his only book, I'm sure we'll
Permanently
find it.
Suspended.
Oh, nice.
nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Sounds like me in Catholic school.
There you go. Yeah.
Are you planning on going back sometime soon?
I
here,
didn't.
or-
No, I wasn't kicked out. I was just invited not to re-enroll for the
Gotcha.
following
There you
year.
go.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the history of our show is, when we first started, we never listened to a podcast, didn't know what the hell we were doing. It's kind of like,
Right. Me either.
you were released on radio, but we were like, hey,
Yeah.
16 episodes, we're going to run out of shit to talk about. And like, here you guys are doing a daily for like, what, 2-3 hours a day?
We do an
still
hour and
don't
a
know
half
how.
a day. Yeah, every day. But me and Jay, who's not here, and Biggie, we treat it very much like we did the radio show, where that's our job. It's our only jobs, and we treat it like it's a profession. And so we work really hard to get our content together, and we don't pre-plan anything, but we have an idea of what we're going to do each day, and that's the grind that it takes to do a daily. But you guys are IT guys. You guys are tech guys, where we have the landscape to do anything. One day we're talking about tech. One day we're talking about porn stars and sports, whatever.
I did talk about
your show.
Yeah.
I did talk about my adventures in buying Planters cheese balls.
Sure.
Last for like
exceptional content.
But the problem was I told the story and then I repeated it. It never lives up to the first story you told.
Yeah.
I want to hear Mike tell some of his favorite tech stories that he's talked about. He said some days we'll talk about tech, and then some days.
Of course, you caught that. Big tech guys.
What was your favorite story that we've recently discussed?
My favorite story is when we sent you to a male jack-off club in San
I
Francisco.
remember we talked about that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Remember that? Yeah.
Hello.
He had to stand in line and pay $10 to go in and jack off with a bunch of men in the room.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't masturbate, but
But you were nude.
I did.
You were
go.
nude.
I was naked, and I did watch them other men masturbate.
The only advice I gave him was when in Rome, and so he had to stand in line.
That
and go,
voicemail message was probably played on the radio thousands of
10,000
times,
times,
at
yeah.
least.
I got to hang out with him because I went out.
talking
to
about
the,
Jerry from the San Francisco.
Yeah, totally. Was it
SF
sfjacks.com?
Yeah.
I also-
screw me for knowing that.
I was saying, it sounds like a sports
hilarious.
team.
Well, I also got to hang out with him this year.
The
in
Houston
June.
Wankers versus the SF Jacks tonight.
Oh, shit, right. I went to the Pride Parade with him, and
Sure.
I
We
hung
sent him
out
to
with
the
the
Pride Parade.
weekend with this
With
Jerry.
actual Jerry?
Yeah, me and him. tooled around San Francisco.
That reminds me of I was in a punk band for like 3 weeks called the Disco Mafia when I was like 21 years old, and we did the Hamtramck World Tour. And there was a place called the Marquee in Hamtramck, and if you call the voicemail, 'cause back then it was 976 numbers for like wrestling hotlines and all that shit. You didn't get there was no internet. It was like, welcome to the Marquee. This weekend performing Blood Sausage. We used to always laugh because there was a band called Blood Sausage that was like BLUD umlauts, like all spelled weird.
Yeah.
And then I meet the guy. I'm in the wrestling business doing play-by-play, and the guy's like, "Yeah, we're in the Bumpin' Uglies. Their first band was called Blood Sausage." I go, "Don't tell me you played Hamtramck." And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Dude, I can still do that voicemail. That voicemail verbatim, like playing this weekend the Marquee." Like this, Armenian guy couldn't speak English.
Well, that's how we are with the Jax message.
Right.
Jerry from the San Francisco Jax. You know, and like his whole message.
There was that one part that they Drew and Mike used to always decipher. It was like they're like no jail player or like
no
what?
jail play, no cocksucking, no butthole play.
I have no
come in, have fun, and see the thing, and maybe you'll see the thing itself. Yeah, but the guy's unbelievable. We flew him to Detroit.
Yeah,
and did a bar gig with
him. Like Delbert,
he built his own crown out of a chandelier, and this guy walked in like a king, and people loved him. He's like, I wonder if anyone in Detroit wants to jack off with me while I'm in town. I'm like, not anyone in this room. Dude.
No. Hey, at least no one will admit it publicly.
Yeah. But he's the sweetest dude ever. He's so fun and so funny. And E went and spent a week with him. It was great.
So you're saying next time I get that message on Tinder, I should actually go?
Respond. He's a gem of a fellow. You'll love it.
It's the worst thing that can possibly happen.
So Biggie, you're not starting the Detroit chapter.
No. You know, I think there is a Detroit Jacks.
Is there really?
There's a Paris Jacks, a New York Jacks. Yeah.
When I tell people that story, the one thing I always like to say is I'm not married and I don't have like a girlfriend, believe it or not. No. And so my mom had to drop me off at the airport, knowing why I was flying out to San Francisco.
Oh my God!
Like, because I couldn't just tell her like take me to the airport.
Right.
Don't worry about where I'm going. I'll be back in a few days. And
it's for business.
Don't look
Ma.
into it.
Yeah.
It's for business.
Related. You don't
for work, Ma.
Right.
We've sent them all over the country though, and it's awesome. Our listeners will help out. They'll be like, "Dude, I got miles. Where do you want to send them?" And we'll send him down to spring break in Florida. We send him to Vegas.
I feel like we don't lean on our listeners enough, Bob.
Yeah. No, Randy's looking at us like going, "You assholes!"
I know you have IT nerds listening. They've got a lot of money, probably.
Wouldn't go that far.
Guess where you're going next week, Randy?
No, they're unbelievable.
No, but Randy wants to go to.
Good news, bad news. Good news, you're going to San Francisco. Bad news, you're going to a men's jack-off club.
No, Randy's good news. Good news.
That's a win-win.
The listeners have blown my mind since day one, though. Like we probably talked about it last time we were here, but when we started, it was like my contract was, I think I had 3 months left, so I was still getting paid for a few months, but then that runs out. You're doing a podcast, you don't know who's listening to you.
Yeah,
you've just set this up. You're not making any money, and it's like, if we're going to keep this going, we got to do like a Kickstarter or something. And so we did, and raised $45,000 in 9 days. And then last year, was it last year you were doing the SOS, the South Oakland shelter for homeless? And he's like, it was his idea. He's like, I want to sleep in your driveway in a tent.
I remember, yep.
In February for a week. And the listeners, over 2 events, he raised $65,000. These guys were blown. They were like, this is more money than FEMA gives us.
We still
and that's purely the listeners.
We still meet people that listen to us because of you.
Yeah.
Like they'll go, "Hey, I heard you guys on Detroitcast and I followed your show now." And
yes,
you probably don't hear the reciprocal, but
nobody listens. No,
yeah.
No, I know. We did a show. What was it, Hot Butter Podcast? And a bunch of listeners started listening to them and your show. I know
we've been following them on Twitter.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Right.
Good guys. Yeah, it's fun.
Hi,
and that's how this business works, though.
Oh, totally.
Like radio, it's like those are your enemies. They're doing a show. You can't
right.
Not reference them.
Don't reference them. Don't mention them. Don't go on their show. But podcasting, it's like, man, you can listen whenever you want.
No, but that's the thing. We have those podcaster meetups. We encourage it, man. We want everyone to kind of do better.
Yeah.
We try to do workshops and we teach people at different events. Like, hey, this is how you want any help doing it? We'll open books, man. Like, let's dive in.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's awesome.
So what kind of a pain in the ass is it to put out a show every day? Because we know Jer, does 20 minutes or so. But you guys are 2 hours.
And Jer works his ass off too. Like he gets up early, does all his interviews, does all his editing, and he's done by like mid-afternoon.
Yeah. Well, we do an hour and a half a day, and I'm so used to I worked for the Drew and Mike show
Yeah.
and Riff for 17 years. So I'm used to that daily kind of it is what it is. You don't get married, you don't have kids, you just this is
It's
your
the
world.
grind, yeah.
You're doing your day. It's like people think you work 6 to 10. You do a morning show. It's like, no, we were there till 3 every day.
Oh,
And then you went home. Your day never ends.
It's your favorite date story.
My neighbor is best friends with the Channel 7 weather girl. I won't say her name, but you probably know who she is.
Maybe.
Yeah. Beautiful. And she fixed her up with my other neighbor.
Nice.
And he basically says to her within 10 minutes of meeting her, going, yeah, so you're like on TV for like a half an hour. What do you do the rest of the day?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, nice on you.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. It's
That seems
a
like a good
lot
thing to
of
say to a girl on a date.
Yeah, right.
That seems like a real winning move to just basically shatter her whole profession within 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's almost a compliment because people that listen, if you do it well and you're really good at it, it sounds easy. It sounds like guys sitting around the couch bullshitting with each
Talk
other.
about these are 3 guys sitting around your bar
Right.
talking shit about shop. So.
Yeah.
But when you hear guys that don't really do this try and do it, and you go, "Oh, I get it now. That's the difference."
Yeah.
Well, you had to have it first, and that's the one thing I never understood was like, hey, I need a co-host for this blah, blah, blah podcast I'm doing. I'm like, not going to work.
Yeah.
Why? Because you don't know each
It's
other.
somebody random, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I handpicked, a guy I went to high school with.
Yeah.
Because I knew he was strong enough. Because Mike Clark did the show with me before Jay did.
Okay.
And it was like, how do you fill Mike Clark's shoes in Detroit? You know what I mean? Like Mike Clark's a legend. Rest in peace, my friend. But I needed someone. Jay's a lawyer, and with confidence, and wasn't going to be put off by people going, "Who the hell's this guy? This guy, he's not Mike Clark." Jay wasn't going to care, and I needed someone with that kind of backbone to be able to sit in there.
And he didn't act all yucky and trying to do voices, and that's the one thing you had to be yourself. And I think Jay kind of,
and I knew he would.
Yeah,
I knew he would be that guy. There were a lot of people I know that are funny that could do. Maybe that would work. Maybe this guy would work. But with him, it was like, nah, he'll be fine. He'll stand on his own feet and do his own thing. He doesn't give a shit.
Right. And that's the one thing. Like that's one of the reasons I reached out to you. Is like, oh man, with the passing of Mike Clark. That was like, that was you obviously you were more in tune with it than I was. But I mean, that was every day for me for 20 years. I always talk about man, I listened to Ernie Harwell speak more than my father. Like Ernie Harwell spoke to me more than my dad did.
Well, I saw Mike Clark every day for 17 years.
Yeah.
For 10 hours a day, and I saw Mike Clark more than I saw family, friends, girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like for real. I know Mike Clark as good as anyone on the planet. And, I was really happy to see that when he passed, I didn't see one comment. And I've read a lot of stuff, Facebook, Twitter, he was trending on Twitter, and I didn't see one person go, who cares? The guy sucked anyway.
Nope, not one.
Nobody. It was all.
How rare is that?
It's impossible.
Yeah.
For being that out there and being that he wasn't yucky. He was out there, man. He had catchphrases. Yeah. Usually guys with catchphrases, the shit gets old, and it didn't with him.
He's legit Detroit.
Yeah.
Too. He's legit. Like, you can't fake it from Detroit. Like, Detroiters don't like a guy coming in from out of town and being like, yeah, I'm Detroit now.
Like Dave.
Like a lot of people.
Especially throwing around big money, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Mike never, he was always so incredibly grateful. I don't care how much he made, and he made a shitload. He never lost the fact, dude, I can't believe I'm here doing this. And he read every email people sent in. Like, if you sent an email to the Drew Mike Show, I probably didn't read it. Drew probably didn't read it. Fellhauer didn't read it. Trudy didn't read it. But Mike Clark did. And he was so appreciative of the fans. He was so happy to do what he did. And he loved talking to people. And, I was talking about it on my show, that I loved watching fans meet him for the first time and seeing how happy they were to, in person, see that laugh that he had.
Oh, yeah.
And him engaged and giving you a piece of what he gave every day on the radio. It was awesome.
Well, I went to that one party. It was at the Fillmore that they flew in Delbert.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And when I parked, he parked like 3 down from me.
Yeah.
And of course, you look over at him, and the first thing out of your mouth is, bitch!
Yeah.
And then
No, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. And but that was funny. That was your word when everybody yelled bitch at you. That was but it made sense. It was so ridiculously stupid. But that was, that was it.
It's sad that we lost him. It was a shock to all of us, and it sucked. I got a call from Drew, like 10 o'clock in the morning that morning. And Mike had passed a couple hours earlier, and it was like, why is Drew calling me 10 o'clock in the night? That's kind of weird. And usually he will text or something. And to hear Drew, I was like, hey man, what's going on? And he's just like, hey man, I got some terrible, terrible news. And as soon as he said that, you're like, you're doing the Rolodex in your head. Is shit, something happened to Trudy, Mark, and then he's like, I was like, what? And he goes, are you sitting down? And I was like, oh shit, this is bad. And I was like, yeah, I am sitting down. And he said, Mike Clark passed away this morning. And it was just like, oh man, you got to be kidding me. And it was just one of those moments that I'll always remember where I was when that call came in. And I'm just really glad because we worked so close and long together for so long. We're not best friends every minute of the day. We all had moments where it's like, screw you. And I'm so happy that when I heard that news, the only thing I thought of was the wonderful times, the generosity of that man, and nobody made me laugh harder than him.
Yeah.
Ever. Funniest guy I've ever met. Even funnier off the air. And
if you think about
you would second that, right? He's even funnier off the air than he is on.
Oh, for sure.
He can swear off the air.
I was lucky enough to be an intern on the show for a while, and that is the best part. The best parts absolutely were the moments you got to see him off the air, and Mike's right, be funnier off the air than on.
If you think about it, though, from a perspective of, it's almost like Chris Farley, Robin Williams, right? When they pass, you're sad, but you're not. Why? Because they're immortalized.
Yeah, for sure.
And with Clark, between Yuppie Slayer and all the crap on YouTube, man, anytime you need a pick-me-up, you can just drop something that he did or said.
It's there.
There's thousands and thousands of one-liners and,
Dude, you can walk down the street, whether it's bitch or, any of that stuff. Salad Story.
Yeah.
You can walk around Detroit with a Salad Story, and people know what you're talking about. Bowie tickets.
Right.
Mike Clark, you're looking at me like, I don't know what the Salad Story.
I never listened to the show, so I missed
4 a.m, Mike would come in and he'd be like, oh man, I was grilling steaks at 4 a.m, and he'd be hammered. He's like, beer cans as far as the eye can see on the counter. Him and his wife would sit up drinking, shit-faced drunk, and then he's grilling steaks outside at 4 a.m, and he's like, oh man, Trish makes this salad. It's the best salad ever, and it's got garlic ranch dressing. And he was so tired, and it was like 5:30 in the morning. He passed out face down in his salad, and he woke up, and he's just like, wait, where am I? Am I in Nam? I'm in my salad. And he wakes up, and then he's like, oh, and Drew's like, well, did you go back to eating the salad? He's like, yeah. And so he passes out again, and Drew's like, again? He's like, 4 times, face down in his salad. And my favorite part of that is Mike told me that story on the porch. Like, we would go in a commercial, we had those horrifically long 9-10 minute breaks. We were so loaded with spots. And he told me that story, like in shame, on the porch. And I've never laughed so hard in my life. It was the first time he told the story, and I was like, dude, you have to tell that story on the air. And he's like, no way. People are going to think, what a loser, drunk idiot who passes out in their salad 4 times. I'm like, Mike, it doesn't matter. That's literally the funniest story I've ever heard. You have to tell that story. He's like, you don't think people will think I'm an idiot? And I'm like, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? That story's unbelievable. And so, stories like that almost didn't air. Like, he was shameful about that. And it's one of the best radio moments in Detroit, And so getting that kind of stuff with him and having those stories and moments is awesome,
I listened to a bunch of the Belfer Blows and Kramer Blows stuff, Troy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
His messages during the Michigan State games.
I think he kind of knew. I think he knew. Like, he used to leave these voicemails, man, so drunk, talking about.
Yeah. Hey,
God
man,
knows.
you can believe this. I'm at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
Bowling by myself. He's drinking beers. Those were left on my machine. Like, he would call me, and I would just get into work the next day. I'm like, Drew, you got to hear this message this dude left me. And he's like, he'd leave Mark a message like, hey, remember that cupcake company that came in? Those were delicious. Can we get more of those cupcakes? I mean, they were so smooth and creamy. They're just I need a dozen of those cupcakes now. You're just like, what grown man leaves that on another man's voicemail? But Mike would.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like he would be horrified. He'd be like, Drew would say something like, oh, we had another message from Clark. Clark would be, oh, no. No, not for him. He wasn't trying to make a bit out of it. It was just like, the dude was so funny. It's like, even his dumb 1-minute message you'd air. Right, it was that funny.
Well, that's the thing with Troy. It ruined. It's kind of like when you're Timmy. Like, you know, like when you're Troy in town, it was
Troy.
You know, that was, and it still exists. You know, that's that. And
was
that's
that Troy Cologne?
Troy Cologne.
Yeah.
How would you like to smell like the NFL's number one quarterback?
Sack me, big boy. Yeah, it was great, man. Great writing, and Mike was so good at performing that stuff. You know, like it's you know, I have video somewhere of us recording, like Cliff Notes Theater. Like a couple of those.
Oh my God, those were glorious.
Dude, it was so fun and funny to be in a room with like Drew and Mike and Mark and me and, you know, E or whoever we would have. And we'd get these, we'd each have our script, and Drew would write these brilliant, you know, movie scripts. And they got epic. They were 12 pages long by the end of it. They were hilarious. And it'd be like, we'd just divvy up who wants to be the judge? And, you know, Drew and Mike would obviously take the lead parts. And whenever Mike would get on, it was like he would just bring something different. And it was like he'd get a line out and the whole room would just lose it. And it's like, okay, let's try to get it back. And Mike's laughed at, he'd be doing that the whole time. And it was just like, this is so unbelievably funny watching this happen and seeing him work. And he's just a great dude, man. It's a great loss for all radio fans and fans of that show in Detroit.
No, but like, a lot of the stuff is archived. Was it Yuppie Slayer, right?
Yeah.
YUPISLYR.com.
Yep.
Like, there's tons of stuff. I can't believe how much stuff they got cataloged on there.
Dude, well, when after Janet Jackson, you know, the titty exposure at the Super Bowl, like, there started to be issues with the FCC, and they got stricter. And so there was a time when management was like, you guys got to get your best stuff catalog out of here. Like, we don't want to be, if they subpoena this,
right.
we want to be able to go like, we don't know.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It aired. It's gone.
Right, because that was that was in the days of the internet. People, you know, would forget that, like, it wasn't like that. Everything was just every show wasn't just but the next day here's a whole show online, so you could hide it.
Yeah, they wanted plausible deniability. Like, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And so I was like, they're like, take it home, get it out of here, do whatever you got to do. And so I have the entire Drew and Mike best of catalog at my house. CDs upon CDs of like high def quality DAT. And so Big E and Jay and I are starting to go through it. And some of this stuff people have not heard in years. And so we're going to start doing a little thing on our show, the Detroitcast, where going into break, it's like, hey, here's another moment in the life and times of Mike Clark, and just play a 3-5 minute clip of something, you know, that people will have forgotten or whatever, just kind of highlight like the brilliance of that dude. Yeah. And so we're just starting to go through it now. I was out of town last week, so we're just starting to go through the discs now and kind of cherry pick moments. And so I think people that loved him, loved that show, will really get a kick out of it because the quality is really good. So the problem with a lot of the fan stuff, they were recording that stuff just on tape, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so the quality's not quite as good, but the quality we have is really good. So I'm excited to start posting some of that stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that was honestly, that was the one thing where, like, you know, I remember walking into Macomb College in classes and just red faced, like it's
late. A lot of people were late. They sit in a car in the parking lot. I mean, I remember doing that before I worked with them.
Nothing's been replicated since. There's been people that have come and gone that have tried, and I mean, but that was, to me, that was all. And you don't know if it's nostalgia speaking or if it was actual.
Yeah.
But
I don't think that it is. I'm sorry, I don't think that it is. I think it's still that good.
Yeah. Like, he's the only guy. Like, I had a girlfriend. Her name's Amy Hayes. She was in Playboy. She was in Hawaiian Tropic. Beautiful girl. Google her. And Mike would like.
He really wants you to Google her. He wants everyone to see.
No, I don't. But Mike Clark was he was like a child, but he was harmless. Like, no guy wants another guy calling their girlfriend. Like, Mike Clark would call her, and Amy and I would listen to these messages and laugh our ass. He'd be like, oh, yeah, hey, babe, those legs, I'd like to get in there. Like, he'd leave the most raunchy, explicit, detailed messages about what he wanted to do to my girlfriend, and we would laugh our asses off. And people heard that guy, the minister of fantasy, the guy that's, you know. But the fact is, that dude was like Homer Simpson in that he loved his wife so much. He would never dare cheat on her. Like, Trish and Mike, and that I feel so bad for Trish because she lost a guy at 63 years old who she should have spent a lot more years with, and he adored her. She had macular degeneration. She has it, and so she's legally blind, and Mike was her chauffeur, would do anything for her. And while you heard that guy on the radio, oh yeah, what cup size, and he would, if a girl and he could have plenty of opportunities. Wouldn't. He was loyal to her, loved her to death, and anything for her. And I don't know how many people would know that or believe that, but it's true.
He always sounded sincere about it. 'Cause you spend more time with those people in your life listening to them from afar than you do with half your family. Especially
for sure.
Long road trips. Like, I couldn't even tell you how many hours I spent, with that in the background.
Yeah.
But hey, we're gonna cut you guys loose. We sincerely appreciate reminiscing.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Continue. Wish you nothing but continued success, man. Anything we can do to help you, let us know.
Give us a bunch of listeners.
Sweet.
Can you
Done.
do that for us?
And
Done.
some money.
And money. Yeah, money.
Some of that internet money.
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you giving us
awesome,
the
man.
opportunity to come here and talk about Mike. He's a great dude. And as soon as you guys reached out, it was like, hell yeah, we'll come by. And continued success for you guys. You guys sound great, and glad the show's doing well.
We definitely don't look great.
No, you guys look horrible.
Faces for radio.
That's why you're on a microphone, not a camera.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It works.
You're like, why don't you guys do video? This is why. This is good. Look at me. This is why.
why.
But hey, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to, we did an interview with Jimmy Smith, who's a brand ambassador with Lenovo. This is the IT and the D show.
And we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, it's Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT and D show.
ITinthed.com.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
IT in the D. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time. ITinthed.com.
Welcome back to the one and only IT in the D show, broadcasting live here in Studio One in Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob the sales guy hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri the FNG, Randy. I do the Twitters. Walker is in studio. Find us online, ITinthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials, and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, so we've got a pretty hot topic coming up for discussion today. We're talking foreign tech infiltration, and joining us we have Jimmy Smith, Lenovo's North American brand ambassador and product expert. So, hey, thanks for joining us, Jimmy.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, no, very cool. So, I mean, we talk a vast amount about, breaches and technology issues and that kind of stuff. It's a real scary age for business and business owners. So with so much technology, there's a greater chance for vulnerability and data compromises as well. So, Jimmy, today we want to talk about the topic of security head on, starting with a topic that's been all over the IT and tech space, the discovery of Chinese spy chips hidden on motherboards and servers.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, we literally just talked about that. So, I mean, these chips have been brought into the U.S. and have reached nearly 30 U.S. companies. So, as a Chinese company, how has this discovery impacted and affected Lenovo?
Wow, I see how you guys do here. You just get right into it. Right? So yes, that's a great question. And so I think I'd like to start with just kind of that notion of Lenovo being just solely a Chinese company. Right?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, one myth we have is that Lenovo is a Chinese company. We are not just a Chinese company, and we're not just an American company. We're kind of the quintessential example of a true global company. We're in over 160 countries around the world, and we actually have two global headquarters. One is in China, and then we also have one here, right where I'm at in Raleigh, North Carolina, in the Raleigh Research Triangle Park area.
RTP?
So we fully Yep, RTP. Yep, home of college basketball, pretty much.
Right.
Yep. So pretty much, we are the quintessential example of a global company, and we embrace our multicultural heritage. So whether it's our Chinese heritage from our Legend PC days, or back from where it really our beginnings in the commercial space from the IBM PC days, right? So, and that's really gave us a foothold in our American heritage, along with our recent acquisition, right? Not so recent anymore, almost 4 years ago, of Moto in Chicago. So,
right.
We are truly a multicultural company. But let's get to that, right? So now with these spy chips. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, we'll let you dance around for a few, but you're going to have to answer the question, man.
Yeah, we'll get to the actual answer, right?
Right.
So I'm not pivoting. I'm going right back, right? So yes, these spy chips, they may have come from China, But let me be clear, in no way have those chips affected Lenovo devices and security, right? One of the key players that we've seen in this report is Supermicro.
Yep.
Supermicro themselves, they are not a supplier for Lenovo in any capacity.
Okay.
I remember pretty much selling against Supermicro on our data center side, right? So they are not kind of a partner of ours, right? We're very, very, very cautious when it comes to our supply chain and when it comes to security. So we're dedicated to protecting our customers' data, to providing top-of-the-line business devices that are safe and secure. In fact, our supply chain has been recognized in Gartner's top 25 ranking the past 3 years in a row. And that's not just of tech industries. That's actually out of all industries, not just tech.
Well, and those guys seem to know what they're talking about, so yeah.
What'd you say?
I said those guys seem to know what they're talking about, so yeah.
A little bit. We trust them a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but with our critical large volume components, they're tracked via barcodes. They're controlled in the supplier's inventory and assembly process until they're actually received by us. Manufacturing them takes them in a secure and controlled environment, including a secure physical facility and a secure network. So completed products are then packaged with tamper-evident seals and for boxes and pallets. And then our shipments are then tracked from origin to customer delivery. And so like an example of that is literally taking a picture of the truck driver from the starting point to the destination to make sure that the person who drove the truck at the beginning is the same person that delivers the product, because I know we all talk about these virtual and digital man-in-the-middle attacks,
right? But
there are also physical, old-school man-in-the-middle attacks, and so we actually have policies and processes in place to prevent that. So when it comes to security, this is something that we have been doing for a long time, and I think throughout the IT industry, right, it's something that we've talked about, and it's not new to us. It's just the rest of the population is really starting to become on board because we're all so uber connected now.
No, absolutely. And I mean, it sounds like you guys are on top of it. You know, and when I'm reading this, it's kind of like, okay, that's great. You guys are on top of things and you're managing this process. But, how are you continuing to ensure that it doesn't happen in the future, right? When the cat's away, the mice will play. Are you guys camping out in these environments, or what are you guys doing to ensure that this stuff doesn't happen as soon as you guys leave the premises, right?
Yeah, so it's tricky because we need ODMs, OEMs. We need component manufacturers because I don't make everything that's in a ThinkPad, right?
Right.
But when a customer purchases a ThinkPad, the only logo they care about is ThinkPad.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if one of those components, if a piece of software, firmware, if that has an issue, our customers see it as the ThinkPad had an issue, right? So what we have to do is we have to kind of foster those relationships, right? So all of these component providers, whether it's software, firmware, or hardware, they're very key to us, to our future as a company, and to our customers, right? So their success is our success, and the vice versa is true as well, right? So to help us ensure quality and security of our data and our customers, we have a very strict process for qualifying core suppliers. We do reevaluate these suppliers on a quarterly basis. In fact, many of our suppliers have already been partnered with us for over 20 years. And then we do seek out new relationships, right, as the markets change, as new players become available, but they get thoroughly assessed, right? So they go through a very lengthy questionnaire. And then also we do physical audits on their facilities. We pretty much want to know, worst case scenario, what are your processes in place? And we kind of want to see that too. It's great to tell us. But
right.
We also want to physically see that.
Trust but verify.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much, yeah. Trust but verify, which kind of leads us to, we've created this protocol system called the Trusted Supplier Program. So the goal of this program is to pretty much manage potential customer risk through the implementation of a documented and auditable supply chain security program. And that's just one part of our overall product security process. This program in particular focuses on any intelligent components really that store or process data in any way that can impact customer security. Because you know how this all started, right? Back in the day, it was just, I'm only worried about my hard drive, and then it turned into, I don't know, somebody got real smart and figured out a way to get resident information, via RAM.
Yep.
So all of these different things, you kind of have to get more sophisticated as the attacks and the breaches get more sophisticated, right? So because of this program and other programs like it, a company called Chain Security, they're one of the leading security firms in the United States, has recognized us and our work to protect our customers and their data. Now, I know that usually you don't want your name in the mouths of a security firm, but this is one time where it was actually good news, or really, it's a security firm, so it was okay news, right?
Yeah, right.
They never give you good news. It's always, well, it's not bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, and better to be, in their mouths than on the front page.
Exactly, right? Get ahead of it.
Right. All right. So I think you put that issue to rest. So we talked about the spy chip. We talked about security. So now let's talk about the devices. And we're talking about offshore manufacturing and all that stuff. So let's talk about bringing them into the U.S. So how it's in the news. We've got the midterm elections and all that stuff, and politics are heavy on everybody's mind.
Well, just even locally, Ford announced all the layoffs because of this with the new policies.
Right. So I mean, how are these new tariff policies affecting Lenovo?
Oh boy, yeah. I'm a big Avengers geek, so this is like an IT snapshot, right? so yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Can I phone a friend and call in our PR person? Yeah, that'd be
exactly
right.
A lifeline now. So yeah. Lenovo is definitely a global company, right? So as I already stated, we're not just a Chinese company, but since us being a global company, we do support fair trade and open markets in general, right? As a company with significant investments, and I do mean significant in both the U.S. and China, this topic is very important to Lenovo, and we've worked with the U.S. Industry, Trade Association, and the Information Technology Industry Council, anybody that will hear us, right, to ensure our views and those of our entire industry, because it's not just us, are well represented in this process. And we'll continue to have these kind of talks and discussions. And probably most importantly, these tariffs and even the spy chips are not a Lenovo issue, right? These are issues that are completely industry-wide, just like with any breach. We've seen in the news in the past. We're also connected. I kind of call a lot of the people in this industry with us, we call them frenemies, right?
Right.
In one respect, we compete. But then when stuff like this happens, all of a sudden we're allies once again.
Yeah.
Because we almost need each other. We feed off of each other. So it's completely an industry-wide issue. It affects the entire technology sector. And thankfully, because we actually own the majority of our own supply chain and manufacturing, that specific model that we've kind of developed gives us a much more flexible way to kind of manage and maneuver with these types of issues in ways that and some of our competitors, they actually may not be able to pivot as quick or as agile as we can.
Smart. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're gonna keep hammering you because that's what we do. The thing is, it's the topic of security is on everybody's mind. It's more so these days than the supply chain's locked down, and everything else is locked down. I mean, Lenovo. I mean, you think of you as a hardware manufacturer, but on the software side, what else are you guys doing? Anything else to secure or to help your customers secure their stuff?
Yeah, so now we get into the nerd stuff. This is kind of some of my favorite stuff, right? So, like I said, this is not really new to us. And I think up until a couple of years ago, if you talk to a Lenovo, especially a Lenovo salesperson, and you tried to tell them about new security features, it was, yes, I know, right? Like we beat it to death internally, and we tell our sales reps, and our sales reps, they know it like the back of their hand. But this was an internal thing. And I think in the IT industry, right, we've been very used to this. But we have a lot of, I would say, newcomers to the IT industry of stakeholders that maybe weren't really involved in the IT decision-making process in the past, right? So recruiting in a company never cared about the products that the employees utilized on a day-to-day basis, right? Because it didn't matter. What mattered was in recruiting was this is the paycheck that you're going to get, right? It's the company culture. But now the devices you carry are part of the company culture,
right?
People are this new generation. They're making decisions based on the type of product that they get to carry. right? Not just the salary, the type of product that they get to carry will help them make a decision on, do I want to work for that company? Because the device you give me tells me how you feel about me as an employee, right? And so with that, we have had to start do a pivot of, okay, we have this suite of security of security offerings, and we kind of need to push this message out more. It's not just to our own kind of IT brethren, right? It needs to be pushed out to everybody. And so we've actually developed an entire security offering called now Think Shield, right? So, we have Think Pad, Think Center, Think Station, Think Systems, right? So we have everything Think. We do a lot of thinking. So we do have this comprehensive security platform now called Think Shield. And so Think Shield is hands down
the marketing guys are just milking that one as long as they can, huh?
You have no idea. You have no idea. Yeah, we had to get it right, though, right?
Right.
You just can't talk about full drive encryption. That's great.
Yeah. No, it's got to be it's got to be Think Something. It's got to be Think Something. Trust me. Yeah.
But it's got to roll off the tongue, right? And they already know Think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So with Think Shield, it's a full end-to-end security offering, right? It's a suite of device security features like ThinkPad Privacy Guard. So we're literally building in privacy screens inside of the screen of your laptop, right? Things like Think Shutter. And some of these are very basic things that you would think, oh yeah, why didn't you have that before almost, right?
Right.
Think Shutter is a physical cover for that webcam that's integrated at the top of your laptop, right? And I kind of joked that we're going to put the Post-it note and electrical tape out of business.
I was going to say, yeah,
that's what everybody was doing before this. So now we have that integrated flush with the device. This is a standard offering that you get. Things like smart USB protections, right? Secure docking, secure hardware offerings with organizations like FIDO, and enabling a simpler and safer authentication for logins, because we know that just the login process alone, there's a lot that we've been doing with that. We were the first commercial laptop to implement biometrics via a fingerprint scanner, right? And we took that from that one that you had to swipe to now a touch fingerprint reader. It's quicker, it's faster, it's more accurate. And now we even implement something called match-on-chip technology. So what that means is that fingerprint file, because as we talk about security now, right, we're all starting to ask questions that we never asked before. And, well, if I use my fingerprint to log into the PC, where does the fingerprint file itself go?
Right.
Is it going? It's in the cloud. Is it going to some server? Like, who actually owns that? Where's that going? Data sovereignty, all of this, right? So with match-on-chip technology, that fingerprint initially gets scanned into a firmware chip on that touch fingerprint reader, and that is hardware encrypted. That's the only place it goes.
Interesting.
Now, Windows 10 has an authentication feature called Windows Hello, right?
Right.
And you can do Hello for Business, right? So with that, when you go to log in, all it's going to do is compare on that physical chip, was it a match or was it not a match? And then that's the information that Windows Hello gets. So Windows Hello doesn't actually get the fingerprint, right? No other piece of software does. All it gets told is, yep, it was a match. Nope, it was not a match. Try again.
Interesting.
Right? That's the only piece of it. Yeah, so that's our match-on-chip technology. And so it's really once you explain it, it's a very complicated process on the engineering side. But really, once you explain it, the idea of a lot of these security features is, yeah, why didn't you do that before?
Right.
Right. Because and sometimes it literally is. Engineering had to catch up with what we know we wanted to do.
Yep.
And it's a lot of cases it finally has. Right. But that's just kind of those are just a couple of examples. I mean, the list goes on and on, from Intel Authenticate to full drive encryption, to actually one of my favorites is our partnership with Mobile Iron, because as we talk about this, we've probably mentioned laptops and ThinkPad I don't know how many different times, but Lenovo is a company that we go, kind of our theme that we like to kind of talk to people about is from the pants pocket all the way back to the data center, right? And now we're even going into cloud, IoT, and AI, right? So we're way more than just a laptop company. And Mobile Iron is kind of, our partnership with them really does show how we're starting to trend towards, all right, I know that people carry around these devices in their pocket that have octa-core processors that keep kids around. it's only a matter of time before that device also becomes a key integral part of their business, life. Right? And it already has in a lot of cases in a lot of our customers. So Mobile Iron helps us so that allows IT admins to manage these devices regardless of the operating system or the form factor. And when I say OS, I mean, all of those major OSs,
right?
From iOS to Android, right, to Chrome, if they become the same, who knows, right? to your standard Windows, because everybody's learning from everybody, right? These mobile OSs are so fast, so agile, and so easy to deploy that Microsoft themselves, one of the redesigns of Win 10 was, okay, we can deploy it now the same way you deploy a mobile device.
Yep.
Because that's what our customers really want moving forward. I don't want to spend 2 days to provision a laptop when my phone's ready in 5 minutes, right? And so people get used to that, right? So, but these are just a couple of those examples of us kind of really providing security for today, and setting that groundwork for tomorrow, because we can see where this trend is really going. We don't buy a company for no reason, right? You don't buy Moto for no reason,
right?
But the idea of ThinkShield really is to protect data and our end users in 4 key areas, protect the actual data itself, the device itself, the identity of the end users and the organizations, and of course protecting all of that online as well, not just offline. Right, so that's really some of the core components and really tenets of our ThinkShield comprehensive list of offerings and security platforms. So, and because of this, really what it all comes down to is that we as a company are truly dedicated to making a difference for our users by providing technology, devices, and services that can make a difference for them and their businesses. Our commitment has always been to offer our customers the best products and innovation possible, providing them with the tools that they need to accomplish their goals in whatever capacity that may be, because Lenovo isn't just our company, right, or just the people that work here,
right,
but it's all of the people that use our devices across the globe. And as long as they're out there doing, creating, making a difference, we'll continue to produce better, faster, more innovative products that can help make a difference for the Lenovo community across this entire globe.
It's awesome. This is good stuff, Jimmy.
Thank you.
So we can find you online, obviously, LinkedIn and at Lenovo.com. And we're obviously users of the stuff here in the office. So go ahead.
Yep. I'm at Jimmy L. Smith Jr. That's me on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as well. You should be able to find Jimmy L. Smith Jr., I believe.
Okay.
Yep.
And like I said, I won't hold it against you for drafting you after retired from the Jaguars. So, we'll a little inside joke, but
fantasy football.
Yeah.
I can't.
for the 2.5 people that actually
cold turkey.
Yeah. That was out for the 2 people that actually play fantasy football. Listen to us. But hey, Jimmy, appreciate the time spent with us. Hey, this is going to wrap things up for episode 272 of the IT in the D show. We really want to thank Michelle Gilbert from Comcast, Mike and Big E from Detroitcast, and Jimmy Smith from Lenovo. Also want to thank our sponsors, OpsGenie, the NSA, Lenovo, and DigitalOcean. Thank you for keeping the lights on.
That's always going to be weird.
Thanking the NSA for something?
That will never not be weird.
Safe, Dave. On behalf of Bob, Dave, Nuri, and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
ITinthed.com.
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash. You've saved your life. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name?
Murphy.
Make the run. The run. Game over, man. It's game over.
It's over, Johnny.
It's over.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so...
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out.
And that's the double truth, Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
So on the truth.
Fear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just doing stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.